your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell at before you blow up a plane.
Basha K. Ali!
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what, Chrissie, to say I dabbled in stand-up is something. I haven't even disrespected you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt. I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean. Oh my God, all of my Legos went flying. Oh, what?
Go my ego.
You're not supposed to come in yet. As soon as we went, I clicked live. All of my Legos went flying. The Legos that a fan made for me and Lila and Keanu on the Adorable Tour. Anyway, welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are everywhere: iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Rumble, Rockfin, Facebook, even if they allow it, Twitch sometimes. So we're all over the place. Before I bring in our fabulous, iconic guest, I have a couple of stand-up shows to tell you about. This Saturday, I will be performing in Mayapack for a wonderful fundraiser. I believe there may still be a few tickets left. I could be wrong. It could be totally sold out at this point. It's possible you could have lost your chance. Then I'm headlining in Minnesota Saturday, October 21st at the Great River Bowl and Partners Pub in Sartell, Minnesota. Lila Hart will be featuring, and the great Nick Rekieta will be there as well, doing some sort of a hosting or guest spot, whatever he wishes. Then I'm back on Long Island Friday, October 27th and Saturday, October 28th at the Brokerage Comedy Club. Then I will be yucking it up in Tampa at Sides Flitters Comedy Club Sunday, December 3rd. And then the first weekend of the new year, I'll be in San Diego Friday, January 5th, Saturday, January 6th at the Mic Drop Comedy Club. Get your tickets at ChrissieMayr.com. Please and thank you. And as always, if you know of a cool venue near you, and if you're like, Chrissie, you've never come seen me, you never performed here in Kansas, you've never performed here, wherever you live, tag the venue, tag me on Twitter, call, email, whatever you have to do. I'll perform wherever, but it helps if you make that initial connection. Sorry, I'm also out of breath because I sprinted here from New York City. I just finished Wet Spot. I didn't even have time to change my shirt, but I did change my pants to Christmas pajama pants. So now I'm ready. Now that I'm relaxed, I'm going to bring in our guest. First time ever on the Chrissie Mayr podcast. He is an icon. He's the most famous podcaster today in the world. He is a real, he is part of the foundation of the Dabbleverse, which if you have no idea what that is, we will explain it to you, and you will probably end up wanting to join the Dabbleverse yourself. He is my favorite starch, my favorite podcaster, my favorite person, who's a vegetable. Would you consider him a vegetable? He's going to tell us. Welcome to the show, Cardiff Electric.
Oh, hi. Hello. Welcome. Welcome, Chrissie. Welcome to the Cardiff Electric podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yes. And for those that will be listening to this on audio only, boy, you are missing out.
Losers.
Because Cardiff is a potato.
Yes. Allegedly.
No, you are. I've met you in person. You are a potato.
That is true. Is that a fat joke, Chrissie? Are
No.
we starting off?
No, you're actually very tall and like you have a sort of looming physical presence. I definitely wouldn't call you a potato in person.
Yeah. So all my teachers used to tell me, Cardiff, stop looming.
Oh my God, I really am out of breath from running here because I was so upset about I hate being late. Yet I'm always late somehow. So I sped home from where I parked my car to go into the city. One of my rear view mirrors, the one on the right side, has been broken since May, and I haven't had it fixed yet. I just tape it up every month.
Was it broken or stolen? I know that's not
No,
in the city.
it's broken. I broke it. I was in a rush on my way to Newsmax one day, and I backed into a light pole in the middle of the parking lot, and it
Women
was hanging.
drivers, am I right, guys?
Dude, I was so happy nobody saw because I very much fit that stereotype that day. And then the window was sort of hanging. The mirror was hanging like an eyeball. But you can't be driving around in something taped up like that. It's why do I need to look more destitute than I am? So Cardiff. Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Oh, yes, Chrissie Mayr. Go ahead. It's
Anyway,
your show.
women drivers, but I can pull a 3-point turn like nobody's business. I can also parallel park just like a man. Yeah.
No one can parallel park, Chrissie. Only Teslas can do it.
I'm very good at it. So Cardiff, if people are not familiar with you at all, what would be your elevator pitch? What would be your intro? Because I first met you actually at Dabble Con.
Yes.
Was it last year? What was this year?
It was this year, February this year. Feels like a lifetime ago.
It does. And DabbleCon was basically a meeting of all people who enjoy basically a group of podcasts, all centered around and inspired by one Stuttering John Melendez, who I don't know how old you are, if you guys are listening, if you're familiar with the Howard Stern show. I've been told I'm not supposed to refer to Stuttering John as the former mascot of the Howard Stern show, but I always find myself just coming back to that. He was like a fixture. He was a whack packer, I guess. He was like a kooky personality on the Howard Stern show.
He was a staff member, but
he was a staff member.
Yes.
Okay, he wrote, I guess. I don't know.
He was a man on the street, asked the crazy questions. Some of the most iconic bits on the Howard Stern show back in the day were Stuttering John bits. You got to give him credit for that.
He is a genius. Yeah, I don't know why. I think mascot because I think of mascot as like a fun, like the face of the show.
Yes, I would, especially for that. Like he was the man on the street. He was the Howard Stern street team. Instead of tossing out T-shirts and bumper stickers, he was getting the Howard Stern show some great clips of celebrities getting asked ridiculous questions.
Yes, and okay, so I'm trying to set this up in a really organic, really beautiful way here. So I interviewed Stuttering John kind of in like the middle of the pandemic. It had to have been either 2020 or 2021. Mm-hmm. And I asked a very, I thought, safe, innocuous question. I was like, do you think Trump has been good for comedy? And before this question, like his camera had frozen and I was just a wee baby podcaster. So I didn't really, I guess, have the balls to tell him that his camera was frozen. And I just was like, I wanted to avoid conflict. Do you know what I mean? Like my dad had a temper, so I don't like people getting mad at me. So I just sort of, his camera was frozen at least a third to a half of the episode. And I said, has Trump been good for comedy? And he's like, is this whole podcast going to be about Trump? And really that was like the first question about Trump. And he got a little triggered by it. I was like, I was just asking you. I've asked a lot of comedians this question. I don't know. Do you think he's been entertaining? Whatever. I heard that you sort of dabble in stand-up, so I didn't know if you had an opinion with it. He's like, what? He got so upset that I said that he dabbled in stand-up. He flew off the handle. He was upset the whole rest of the episode. The episode quickly came to a conclusion after that. I could not win him back after that.
Well, to give that a little context too, simultaneously, the months leading up to that moment, he was the WATP was really ramping up their coverage of Stuttering John Melendez. I mean, the Stuttering John coverage, WATP, for those who don't know, they review a different podcast every week.
Yeah, it stands for Who Are These Podcasts? Carl's been a guest many times. He most recently was on with myself and Ryan Kinnell when we reviewed the Strike Force 5 podcast with all the late night hosts.
Yes. And so that show was ramping up, but he featured John once. And then I believe John's reaction to that review, we'll call it, made him a recurring character on Who Are These Podcasts. So he was seeing that kind of happening over there. Revenge of the Sis, I believe, was going after him.
And that's with Royce Lopez and
Mersh.
That's their podcast.
Yeah, so something was building. There was some
a tension in the air.
Yes. So I think
everyone was edging.
Everyone was definitely on edge and edging. And I think your question was that moment that just pushed all this to the next level.
Wow.
Because the dabbler asking if he dabbles was gave it a name, gave it an identity. Dabblers Anonymous was born shortly after that on Reddit. And they were created for the sole purpose of making fun, having fun with Stuttering John. So at that time, I was a member of a now defunct SJ Army. So I was a staunch defender of Stuttering John on the internet. I was taking down haters and trolls.
So you were a John apologist?
No, defender.
Oh, defender.
I was sergeant of arms in the SJ Army.
So here is, and I don't think I've ever brought up Reddit on this show, like physically on screen, but here is Dabblers Anonymous. This is a Reddit page with 6,000 or 7,000 members. 6.9 thousand members are part of Dabblers Anonymous.
Mm-hmm. It's a huge community, and you saw, we've watched this community grow. I wasn't the first dabbler. I wasn't dabbler number 1, but I definitely was one of the founding members of the Dabbleverse.
Would you agree that John is dabbler number 1 or dabbler 0 if we're saying patient zero?
Dabbler 0. You might be. I mean, if we really do the science here, you might be dabbler 0, but we'll leave that to the scientists to figure out, Chrissie Mayr.
Right. I'm not a biologist.
No, not at all.
The rules of Dabblers Anonymous are no doxing, no spam, keep it friendly, no slurs, canceling, deplatforming, harassing John or others, no more posting his comedy set videos, which means people used to post.
There was a time, yes, there was a time.
Don't bash his kids, no ban evading. That seems pretty reasonable.
And I think Dabblers Anonymous was born out of, it was a lot of fun. Like it was people, and it was creative, the memes, the videos. Like there's legit talented content creators in Dabblers, so much so that there were fights between them because people stealing each other's content on Dabblers Anonymous, not crediting content on Dabblers Anonymous when using it on your show. Like it was song parodies on Dabbler. Like it was just amazing, the stuff that was coming out, and all inspired by John. And I've been on John's show a few times recently. You may have heard, but I told him, I go, that my whole thing, when the whole Dabblers Anonymous is really doing to Stuttering John what Stuttering John did at the Howard Stern show. Like John's approach and demeanor and the way he would come in the studio, the ball busting, that's what Dabblers Anonymous is. So he really contributed to creating this as much as being the subject of as he did the inspiration for.
I just noticed a tab on Dabblers Anonymous. One says
Chrissie Mayr's OnlyFans.
One of them says green screen fail, which I will play, and the other one says origin of Dabbler, which it's great that you could provide, whoever made this page is providing the lore. They have the exact moment where this happened. And let's see if it goes right to it.
How much stand-up you do, John? It was you can correct.
Oh God! So I'm gonna have PTSD, I think, if I listen to this. Let's see though.
I mean that's still.
I have to play this. Oh God!
And I could have picked a different word.
Oh my goodness!
Have opened up again.
Okay. Let's see.
The states that had.
I can't even.
No.
I'm so uncomfortable in this.
Can I yell at you and just say, go to the beginning?
I'm gonna go to the beginning. You're
Yeah.
right.
Trump has been good for
Oh, you're
comedy.
right.
Is this whole interview going to be about Trump or?
If you really don't want to talk about it, I just figured.
I
thought you had done. I thought you had dabbled occasionally in stand-up. So
Ah!
I brought that up.
There it was.
Dabbled occasionally, really?
Yeah, I didn't know if it was a thing you were really doing or not, and I wasn't sure.
Oh, no. I've been doing stand-up for 20 years.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I had
That
no
was the
idea.
moment.
That much in the last 6 months or so.
And then he said no.
Well, since all my gigs have been canceled due to COVID, no, I haven't.
That was a little bit of I was like not a trick question, but I was like, I know most comics like were getting up one way or the other during the pandemic. They were not going to let 6+ months go by of just no performing. We were performing in backyards, basements,
drive-ins,
parking lots of diners, on the back of trucks. Like people that wanted to perform were making it happen. That's why I was like, is he really doing comedy?
And then the podcast revolution, the COVID podcast revolution. Everyone became a podcaster too.
The podcast boom.
Yes.
This was, God, what was the date on this? I mean, I'm in my old apartment, so it had to have been before February of 21. I don't know. Anyway, that he got so mad at me for this. And this is another great moment. This is actually why we love John, is moments like this.
I got a tweet from
This is why we're like, we love covering John.
my green screen collapsed.
What a dump.
But I like this. It's good to see how the sausage is made sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. And I've told John directly, it's the way he responds to some of the trolls sometimes, which is what makes him more interesting. And it almost fuels more trolling, almost like he's trolling us to a point.
Yeah. Especially now, the way he'll interact or talk about Karl. I was like, okay, it feels more playful.
You mean Carla?
Carla, of course.
Yes.
It feels more like a back and forth. So I'm really trying to give as much context as I can for people who have never heard of the Dabbleverse or don't know about any of this. Not familiar with Stuttering John. So do you come into the picture? How much before Dabble Con do you come on the scene?
Well, I was, as I said, I don't know if I'm going to go truth here or storyline, but.
Answer however makes more sense. I'm not trying to like out you or anything or make you look weird.
I think that story's coming, and I think that the at that point I'm in the Dabbleverse. But I'm playing a role where I'm part of the SJ army. I'm defending John. What I'm really doing at that point is trolling the trolls. So I'm reading what they're doing on Reddit, what they're doing in the Discord, and I'm doing stuff that I know is going to get a reaction out of. I'm trying to get some attention.
Whose Discord is this?
WATP's Discord.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the hotbed. Mostly Dabblers, before Dabblers Anonymous, I think the WATP Discord was a big, probably the landing place for a lot of this. But once Dabblers Anonymous kind of really took off and started growing, then it kind of moved over there.
But Karl's Discord was like the home planet, and then everyone sort of migrated.
Yes, to Dabblers. Again, because Dabblers Anonymous, you can do more things. Again, as I said, there's a lot of content creators, video creators. They needed a place to put all this stuff and house it. You put that in Discord, it disappears. Down the line. This, Dabblers Anonymous, it lives forever and ever and ever
and ever.
But I do think somebody should be making a documentary. There's got to be some filmmaker out there that there's a story here, and this is I've tried explaining this to people that have no idea what the Dabbleverse is, and just the puzzled looks I get. I don't tell them I'm a potato in the middle of it. That would just make it even harder.
Right.
to swallow. What? There's vegetables. There's, there's wrestlers. There's green puppets.
There's a
What?
corn. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's puppets. There's vegetables. There's bears. Oh my. So you're a potato. What
I-
prompted this decision?
It happened very organically. I started.
Almost like it grew up out of the ground.
It did. It did. I have eyes everywhere that spread. No. The I was again, I was goofing on. I was very deep in the WATP universe in the lore. And there was a character on a podcast. There was a podcast that Karl reviewed called Mom Swipes Left. I'm sure they'll appreciate the plug on the great Chrissie Mayr podcast, Mom Swipes Left. And they had a gentleman who I believe had some type of head injury who did an after show, a review show of their show. And he did it as a potato, like I'm doing now. Exactly the same technology.
The
he's
same
using.
potato.
The same potato. He's the same potato. And he would do an after show, basically simping to this Mom Swipes Left podcast. And he was getting 3, 4 views, 5 views. Karl talked about him, and he got 100 views on one episode. And he started kind of reacting, shooting back at Karl, like defending his. He was white knighting for
He
this
should have
Mom
been
Swipes Left.
grateful for the views.
He should have been, but he wasn't. He was upset that his heroes, Jen and Carol, were being attacked and maligned by a club-footed, snaggle-toothed geek in Rochester, and he went to defend their honor. So I went into action to defend Karl's honor, and I stole his gimmick, and I've never looked back. I just got a YouTube channel at that point. I didn't know what to do with it, and the potato filter seemed like a great opportunity to play with.
So is this guy still using the potato filter?
He is, and he's still getting 4 views a week.
And here you are. You've blown past that many, many times over. You're here sitting pretty at over 4,000 subscribers, and you're getting, my God, 10,000 views. 46. Oh, that's okay. That's not yours, but you're getting views. You're doing great.
My biggest video was having John on. I had John on a late night stream. He was rather intoxicated.
Oh, was this recently?
It was a few weeks ago. Ago. It was right as he was leaving. He said he was leaving. He was done leaving the Dabbleverse. He's not going to do any more shows about Shuli or Karl. And he was back the next day. Thank goodness.
Thank God. So did the OG potato user find out that you took his gimmick?
Yeah, he's reacted to me a couple times, but I've palmed a tear wherever you are. Thank you.
I'm being told to send John the link. You know why that's impossible, Frank? I think he still has me blocked on Twitter. Let's check though.
I'm unblocked. I'll send him the link if you want.
John. Oh my God, I'm unblocked, but I am unfollowed, so I cannot send him a link.
I'll send John the link.
Okay. Oh my God, this would be. It would be
epic.
Almost too epic if he came on.
It would be perfect to promote what I'd love to promote tonight.
Ooh.
StutteringJohnLive.com.
What is this? Is this a live website?
No, it's a live show with Stuttering John, March 10th. Comedy at the Carlson in Rochester, New York. He will be live on stage.
Okay, so this isn't a website that I'm trying to find.
No, this is tickets. This is where you go to buy your tickets for Stuttering John Live. Rochester, New York, Sunday, March the 10th. The great, wonderful Comedy at the Carlson. I believe Chrissie Mayr says it's the best comedy club, hands down, in New York State. There's no comedy club better in New York State. Is that what you say, Chrissie
Definitely. Mayr? I've said it before. I'll say it again. And of course, yes, here it is. StutteringJohnLive.com, March 10th, 2024. You know him, you love him from the Howard Stern Show and the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. For one night only, Stuttering John Melendez will be gracing our stage, whether it was conducting his hilarious man on the street interviews for the Stern Show to becoming the first stutterer in history to become the announcer for the Tonight Show. And might I add, the last. John has done it all. Please join us for an unforgettable night of stand-up comedy and storytelling from the hero of the stupid himself. Not to mention, you will have a chance to ask John questions during a special audience Q&A hosted by Cardiff Electric. Now, will you be at this show in a potato costume?
I will be there live in some type of potato-related getup. Absolutely.
Wow.
I promise.
And you have not unveiled your face because at the Dabble Con, you just had a mask on.
Yes. I have not publicly. I mean, many people inside the insiders of the Dabbleverse, they've seen the glory and the shame that I hide behind that mask. But no, I've not publicly gone. And I mean, we have a mutual friend in Chad Zumach. He was.
Are you really friends with Chad Zumach?
Oh no, he's a piece of shit.
Okay. I was like, how is it possible to be his friend?
He was
pushed
trying
everyone away.
Yeah, he was obsessed with trying to dox me, put my information, put my picture out there, and he thinks that he doesn't understand.
He was trying to unearth you.
He was trying to unearth me, but he doesn't understand. The reason I hide my face is more for this is a lot more endearing than what I actually look like.
Especially when you can make a lot of cute faces with that potato, like.
But yeah, when I'm myself, I'm just an ugly fat dude in Minnesota.
No, you're not. And also, you should come to my Minnesota show on October 21st.
I'll be there.
I'll put you on the VIP list. Very important potato.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I'll be there. Minnesota, right around. I'm right there.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay. Where were we before we brought up stutteringjohnlive.com? I want to go chronologically. Okay, so you stole the potato image.
Stole the potato gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing some shows. I had turned, John had blocked me by that point due to some misunderstandings. I was blocked, and I was hurt. I was upset, and I believe for a short period I did turn on John. I started using my potato powers. I piled on for a short period with shows like WATP and the Uncle Rico show. I was one of the multitude of shows goofing on John. I've since seen the light.
You got mashed. You were roasted.
I did. But then John, and I mean that led up to Dabble Con. That was a meeting of all the parties, all the founding members of the Dabbleverse, yourself, Anthony Cumia, Shuli, Bob Levy, Karl, of course. I mean, everyone except Royce and Mersch were there. Were invited.
I don't know if they were invited or if they just didn't want to come.
I don't know. I think they were slighted, and I think Karl and Mersch are still at war.
And I also don't think they care for Cumia. I think there might be some old beef there.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. Interesting. So yes, we all met at DabbleCon to celebrate John. But by the time we met in DabbleCon, John was winding down.
Right. Producer Chris was there. Trucker Andy was there.
Of course. Jenny Jingles.
Yes. Oh, it was so great to meet
all the stars.
Everybody in person. Actually, I had met Karl before. He had come to Compound Media, like in maybe the spring, like of 22, I think. Yeah.
But yeah, we had DabbleCon. John disappeared. John took his YouTube channel down, tried to end it all for us. And that was about 8 months of somehow we survived. There was enough.
You know what? Because hard times create strong men. And that's exactly what happened. It was 8 months without Stuttering John. We had to play the highlights, play the favorite tunes. But yeah, some of us were scraping for things to talk about.
And just as I think everyone was about to run out of content, just as everyone was probably, you know what, let's move on. I think let's find something else to do. As soon as that thought crossed the minds of many in the Dabbleverse, his Twitter fires up. His YouTube channel turns back on. Everything started fire like that.
When was this?
This was like that scene in the Avengers when they had to restart the planet. Like this would have
And
been.
they realized everybody was showing up. Everyone was like behind them, and it was like this huge like wall of superheroes.
Yes, and there was John. I believe my timing could be wrong. I think it was June. I believe June he made his return. It was after the school year had ended. So
Makes
June
sense.
or July. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was back and better than ever. He did his first, he had booked a show. He had booked his first show with Shuli and Karl, a big, massive return to the internet. First interview, he was going to confront them all. That changed. All of a sudden, Karl, the deal was null and void. He had his interview with Kevin Brennan, by the way.
Right. So he's supposed to have his first interview back with Karl.
Mhm.
Was Karl going to pay him for that, or he was just going to
Yes.
do it? Okay.
Yes,
So then he backed out. So instead of doing his first interview with Karl, he did it with Kevin Brennan.
And I have to let you know, legally speaking, I was the founder of the FKB movement.
Wow.
So legally speaking, if anybody super chats you FKB, I must play Bye Brennan. I just have to. I don't want to get in trouble, so I apologize. Anyone who super chats FKB gets a Bye Brennan. I don't know how you feel about Kevin Brennan, but
I think I'm back to pretty hard neutral on him. I started talking to him when I was pitching my show to Compound Media, because I just was like, I need somebody to talk about with the process of pitching a show. Like, I needed advice, and like we spoke on the phone a few times. He seemed cool enough, and then like it just sort of seemed like he just really didn't like me, and then started like really shitting on me, and I never like quite understood why, because we're not even like each other's competition. Like, we have completely different brands, completely different comedy, completely different audiences. So I don't I went from slight positive to back to very neutral to possibly slight negative, just because of his overall attitude. And he posted like naked photos of my friend Keanu from her OnlyFans, or like pictures of her whatever, but like I don't even know. But so someone who does that, not so cool in my book.
did he ever give out your phone number?
Not that I am aware of, but I have gotten a lot of strange phone calls over the last like
I apologize.
year.
Sorry. I drink a lot, Chrissy. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Hey, you know what? Like, I've had the same phone number since 2004. So it's amazing I don't get more weird phone calls. 20
That's
years. I've had this phone number for 19 years. That's a long time.
That's an accomplishment. That's an accomplishment.
That's like a person.
Yeah. If your cell phone number is almost able to can join the army and can vote and can almost drink.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That's wild. I did not want a cell phone at first. I did not want people to get in touch with me. Was not a fan.
Why is that?
I still sometimes get the urge to just throw it in the ocean and not look back. Like, you ever get the urge to just throw your phone like off a tall building?
No, never. I love my phone. Were you a working comedian at the time? Or were you just dabbling?
No, every once in a while I do just get the urge to throw my phone like in the ocean. I don't know, that must, maybe there's a psychologist listening that can explain what that's about.
Let me guess. It's does it every time you want to throw your phone in the ocean, does it line up with the moon cycles?
Probably.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Why am I covered in blood? Okay, cool. So you started the Fuck Kevin Brennan movement.
Bye, Brennan.
I stepped in it. Let's see. What else can we say that's in keeping in chronological order of your lore?
Okay, so yeah, we're back. John's back on the internet. I'm still doing my show. I've got, as far as lore, I think we're pretty up to date. Yeah, I had fought with Chad Zumach for some reason. I had a little bit of a spat with Kevin Brennan, but I was more upset with Kevin Brennan with his attempts to sabotage Karl's show.
Okay.
So when Karl was finally going to get the Stuttering John interview that we were all waiting for, because I mean, Kevin got it. He brought Karl on the show to do the interview for him. I mean, the only interesting part of the show was when Karl was on and he was actually doing the interview on Kevin's show. Then Karl booked an interview, and what does Kevin do? He does everything in his power. He gets John on his show, and he does everything in his power to convince John to not do Karl's show. So it was almost Karl had this all booked, paid for, ready to go, and at the last second he was panicked that, John was not going to do the show. John backed out. He texted Karl, said, "I'm done. I'm out. I'm going to the Yankees. I'm going to the pub. See ya." Because Kevin couldn't let anyone else. Kevin couldn't let anyone else have the John interview. Couldn't let Karl have it.
Wow.
Even though Karl's the only one that should have it.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Yeah.
Now, did you start podcasting to be in the Dabbleverse, or did your content sort of transition to mostly a Dabbleverse focus?
Well, funny question. So initially, I'll go back to the beginning. Remember when I said I was trolling the trolls?
Right.
John was famous for having sock accounts. So my first mission, just with my Twitter, nothing else, was convincing people that I was a John sock account. So I learned to tweet things that he would do. And, one day I did, and people were starting to notice. Again, I would do something and then check Reddit or check the Discord. Is somebody noticing, somebody catching on? Just waiting to see if I could start a fire somewhere. But the first thing I did that really caught everyone's attention was John's been caught a couple times with his sock accounts, saying, "Come on my show." He liked to tweet people, "Come on my show." So I did that once. I don't remember who I tweeted "Come on my show" to. And the Discord erupted. Dabblers Anonymous erupted. They're like, "Aha, we caught him. It's John." So in response to that, I made a podcast. So I'm like, no, I was looking for guests for my show, the Cardiff Electric podcast.
Oh, wow.
So I just started an audio podcast at that point.
Wow. That's like
living the gimmick.
really turning an oopsie moment into a lifelong decision.
Yes. But everything I do was intentional.
It's a happy accident.
Yes.
As Bob Ross would say.
But an intentional one.
Okay. Very cool.
Yes.
Okay. So, and at current moment, I think John is still doing podcasting.
Yes.
I don't know if he's still teaching during the year, but it seems like it's
he
a little bit of a...
He said he's lost that job. And he's pointed the finger at a few people, namely Bob Levy.
That's
I believe
too bad.
for causing
Really?
Yes, that's the claims. I'm not.
How would he have done that?
I believe he accused Bob of encouraging people to report him to the school board.
For what?
Sending them videos of some of his streams. And again, you read the rules in Dabblers Anonymous.
Damn, that's very cancel-y. If that's true, that's very shocking behavior.
Yes, I'm not sure what's true, what's not true, but as you read the rules in Dabblers Anonymous, no getting involved in real life. No doxing, no, so just keep it fun. That's not fun.
No, that's not fun.
Do that.
It's very cancel culture-y, very leftist.
Yes.
It's very upsetting that Bob would act in that way if that is true.
Yes.
I'm
but
sure
I don't think it happened the way it's the claims claim it happened.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure John can find another teaching job. He's very talented. He loves helping children. So, and I think things seem okay with Stuttering John. Now he's got a healthy relationship, I think, with the Dabbleverse. He plays. He's accepted his place there. He embraces it. It looks like he's having more fun now.
He does seem to be. He is dipping in a lot more. He's realized, and at the peak of the Dabbleverse, he could have profited greatly from it.
When was that?
Could have, I would say, leading up into Dabble Con. Up at Christmas time, I think, because it was because it was November. He quit. So, leading into November, that was really peak John.
Oh, he could have had merch going. Even I was selling a mug that says "I dabble" on it. I mean, maybe 3 people bought one, but I just thought it was hilarious, to just have something that said "I dabble" on it.
He could have even stood outside Comedy at the Carlson in February. I know it was cold, but
It was.
the people would have paid $50 a picture. They would have bought
Oh,
shirts. They would have bought
yes.
everything, and it
If
would have
he
been,
just surprise showed up, everyone would have freaked out.
and he could have capitalized on it for sure, but he did not. Unfortunately, did not. But he's back now, and he realizes he can at least make some money off. And I think he said on his show, "If I'll read your super chat, you're gonna trash me, fine. As long as $5 or more, keep paying me. I'll read it."
Who is trashing you?
No,
Perish the
John.
thought.
John.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Everybody loves me, except the ones that don't.
Yeah. Screw those guys.
Yes.
I wonder, has John asked to do? Well, yeah, I think he's asked me if we could do shows together. I don't know if he was serious about that, but yeah, he definitely seems open to more collabs with people.
Mhm. And I think that's John's right spot. Working with somebody, he needs a team around him. He's had that in the past. And that's when he's done his best. But the solo podcast, he's trying to find his way right now. What that's going to
Yeah.
look like.
It seems like he is diverting away from politics, which, he's an entertainer. Nobody's really going to entertainers for their politics news. Like they're going to actual, I don't know, like the Daily Wire or Daily Mail or the Blaze or whatever. So it's like, yeah, if you can make the news funny, go for that. But if you're gonna be a serious news person, that's a big pivot in your branding. And I think he realized his talents are not best served being basically kind of like a leftist talking head.
Yes, we have enough of those.
Yes, we do. What did you think of Dabble Con?
I know I said it was 2 nights, but Dabble Con was the greatest night of my life.
Oh,
No, Dabble Con was awesome. Dabble Con was great. Look, I came into this world as a fan, of the Howard Stern show, of the Opie and Anthony show, of comedy in general. I was never a stand-up. I was never a comedian performer. I'm just a regular Joe, and I'm backstage in a green room with Anthony Cumia and Chrissie Mayr and Dr. Steve, and I mean,
oh yeah,
Carl,
Dr.
but
Steve was there. Yeah,
Dr.
that was
Steve
cool.
was right. Pat Dixon was there. Who else was? Shuli
wow,
was there.
yeah, I
Bob
forgot about
Levy,
that.
Mike Morse. Like these are all guys I listened to for years on the radio. Now I'm on a stage with them. I mean, Anthony Cumia opened up for me at DabbleCon. Like, come on.
Wow. Isn't Anthony the coolest? Like it's hard to be, even if you are a little starstruck by him, he makes everyone feel so comfortable and like you've been friends for years, and he has no pretense, he has no arrogance, or he's just a solid, grounded person.
What I learned, that the Anthony you hear on the radio or watch on Compound is the same Anthony you're sitting at the bar with. It's
He's the exact
so he's
same.
either always putting on a show or not. He's always that guy.
Always just effortlessly cool and funny. Okay. Yeah, I remember, like, what did you even do on stage? Did you have a prepared set, or did you just get up there and riff?
I may have borrowed someone's material.
Oh.
Did a little bit called the squeegee.
Okay, I totally forgot what you did.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I borrowed one of John's signature bits.
Oh,
Squeegee
right.
bit.
It was great because, God, just the production value on that show was so impressive. It was like basically all the best moments of John's podcasts
The
last
entire
year.
the entire event, and I think credit to Vinny Paulino at Comedy at the Carlson and all his team. The event went off without a hitch. It was very well organized. There were not a lot of people that came out of DabbleCon with any complaints. I mean, there was this one guy, OJ, who got his jeans pissed on. But El Horrible, spread feathers all over the floor. But other than that, it went off without a hitch. It was fantastic.
We had karaoke afterwards,
We
like
did.
right outside the comedy room. That was really cool in the lobby area.
and it was minus 50 degrees in Rochester, and everybody the place was
It
sold
was
out.
so cold. Yeah, the place was totally sold out. I almost ran off the road on my way up there. Like my car is, let's just say it's affordable. I love it. But I literally almost I slid off the road on my way driving there because the ice was crazy and a lot of it was like uphill. I had to make like just uphill, a lot of sharp turns, and I almost died, but it was worth it. It was worth it to get there.
Yes, for sure. It was a blast, and it was a pleasure meeting you.
It was so fun.
I was only upset I didn't get to meet Mr. Mayor,
Oh,
the great
my
Frank
dad.
Mayer.
Me, my dad.
No, Frank Mayer, isn't that?
That's my dad.
Oh, sorry.
My dad's name is Frank. Isn't that funny?
Is it really?
Yeah, my dad.
I didn't know that.
My dad and my husband have the same name, so it gets confusing during sex because I'll yell out like, Dad, that feels so good."
Yeah. That sorry, that joke. You ruined the joke.
No, I
Thanks.
did.
You know that-
I told it in the wrong.
No,
order.
but you ruined my joke because Frank is your dad's. I didn't know that.
It's
kind of like the old days when you'd say, "Yeah, you look like the mailman," and then the guy whose dad was actually the mailman was like, "Yeah, I know." Like, oh shit.
For some reason, we had a black UPS guy growing up, and I don't know how or why, but I started like when he would come by, I would yell, "Daddy!" Like I don't know why. I don't know if I was very, very little, like maybe 4 or 5 or something. I don't know if he told us that Daddy was his nickname or something, but I'm yelling out, "Daddy!" with this like black UPS guy in our yard, and the neighbors are looking over at my mom, like creating a spectacle. But yes, yeah, you were very upset to not meet my boo Frank.
Yes.
He could not make it, but he probably wouldn't have enjoyed it because it was freezing. He probably would have actually really loved the show at Dabble
He would
Con.
have.
Yeah,
Everybody loved the show. It was fantastic.
it was iconic.
It was.
We got a
And-
couple of yes.
Oh, and it was not to be recreated March 10th in Rochester. That's something totally different. It's not DabbleCon 2 that's happening at
You can't.
StutteringJohnLive.com.
That's like
Can never
having
recreate.
it's like having a real moon landing or having a second,
Yes.
you just can't recreate it.
Yes.
The Master of Violence, Cardiff talking about Tartaria earlier was awesome.
Thank you.
I'm all about the Dabbleverse, but bring on the Conspiraverse. Oh, really? You fucks with mud floods? You fucks with
No, that was just
hidden civilizations?
well, that was just today. So as you see in my background, I do a show with Vinny Paulino, Subreddit Surfing, Mondays at 8 on YouTube. That's at Subreddit Surfing. And we
Oh.
do different topics each week. So a different subreddit. So it could be today was a conspiracy. It was the mud floods, which I just learned about today.
Oh my
on this
God.
show.
You have to get up to
Yeah.
date on the mud floods.
It was pretty interesting. It was a good show, but we do things sex dolls and meth. Like just we find a different subreddit each week where we can hopefully get guests on.
That is such a great idea.
Yeah, it is. It's the getting guests has been hard. We had a great guest today that came from the Tartaria subreddit that wanted to talk to us. So that was
Oh,
fantastic.
so your guests come from the subreddits
From the
themselves.
subreddits themselves, yeah. So, but it could be anything. It's kind of like I always thought of it like kind of like Coast to Coast AM, if you remember that show, where it could be anything. It could be ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot,
Ghost to ghost.
conspiracies, yeah, like that. So, but we do whatever. It's if we can find a subreddit. Even sometimes we just fuck around with like an "Am I the Asshole" subreddit. Just reading people's shit posts and goofing on them, and it's
Well, if you need a
lot of
flat
fun.
earther, I know a few. So
We haven't done Flat Earth yet, but we will now.
oh, you gotta. It's the best. It's so much fun.
Yeah, definitely. The show is a lot of fun when we can get a guest. It's sometimes hard to get one from that subreddit or find a subreddit that's willing, but it's a lot of fun when we get a guest.
Okay, that sounds really neat.
Yeah.
Dagobert Uberdangle
Hello,
for
Dago.
5. Thank you, Dagobert. The serial tension is giving me the vapors. Don't be led astray by this hot pilf action.
Hi, Dagobert.
I mean, if he's a pilf, where are you going to put your junk?
Anywhere you want.
In one of the eyes? Wait, do you have eyes or ears?
Ears or corn. I have eyes.
Right.
Yes.
Never mind. Stick it in an eye. Hamburger. Up,
Oh.
FKB.
Hi, Brennan. Legally, I have to. Sorry.
Have to.
Nothing I can do about it.
Viking, a wet spot and podcast in one night. Chrissy is too good to us. Thank you, Viking. And I read your email, and I need to respond, but I think I understand what you said. Daglebert, Uberdangle, sexual somehow became serial. Freudian intuitive slip. Keep an eye on that potato. I love it. Viking, Stuttering John.
I don't know how I never thought of that.
How? How
That
is
is
this?
fantastic, Viking.
September of. Look, I have my own box of sound effects here. I think there's applause on here.
It's very professional.
And I have a Stream Deck. I just don't know. I just haven't set it up yet. I'm a little intimidated by it, but I have this, which someone I think sent to me as a joke. But I love it. Isn't that great? Drum roll, please. Stuttering John. This is after I tell a joke.
I thought this would be more appropriate.
Guess what?
Yep.
Infernal Machine says FKB.
Bye, Brennan. Thank you, Infernal Machine.
Thank you, Infernal. WSX for 10. Thanks for the content. Both of you, the best part of the internet. FKB.
Bye, Brennan. Maybe. Forever.
W Dip. Hey, why do I podcast?
How are you? Why do I podcast?
Also part of the Dabbleverse.
Also part of that. Also the pisser in the Pissgate.
Really?
Yes.
What's
welcome,
Pissgate?
Kevin. Well, that was my friend OJ had his jeans pissed on by Why Do I Podcast at Dabble Con.
Oh. How did I miss that?
There were a lot of things going on. Chrissie Mayr.
There really it should have been shot reality TV show style. There should have been cameras in every room because there's so much going on.
Honestly, some of the great stuff, if you look up Dabbler on YouTube, he has some of his, you remember him in the wrestling mask in Cardiff.
I
running
remember
around.
He was asking me what color wrestling boots he should order.
Yes, and he documented a lot of the pre-show, kind of the after show, a lot of the VIP stuff. Like that stuff and that was a lot of fun stuff to watch. Definitely a lot of fun stuff to watch. So things like that were awesome. We were just in Detroit for the WATP Live.
How was that?
Friday night was fantastic. Sold out again.
Wow.
Sold out again. Partnered with a lot of the Drew and Mike fans were out there. So he had Drew Lane on the show and a bunch of us up there. But again, same thing. It was we tried to document kind of some of the behind the scenes, the pre-show, the after show, and it was. I really do think that there is something here that outsiders would like to see, but kind of seeing the behind the scenes of it, I think it would be interesting.
Why Detroit?
Again, Drew and Mike is a show that Karl does a lot of. I think he's on that show weekly, and Drew comes on WATP once in a while. He's got a big audience out there that's WATP fans, so it's kind of, he's got a good audience in Detroit, so it makes sense for him to do a show there.
Okay,
Second time there.
It's WATP country.
It is WATP country via the Drew and Mike show.
Okay.
So Drew and Mike show kind of introduced WATP to their audience, and they really latched on. They love it. Drew loves the Stuttering John stuff. Like Drew Lane loves all the Stuttering John because he was like Howard Stern's big competitor in Detroit. Back in the day.
Really?
So,
okay, I didn't know they were that old.
Yeah, he's an old school radio guy. Like he's an old school. He's a podcaster now, but he was he was the morning radio guy for. Actually, no, he's still on the radio. I'm speaking out of school here, but he was Howard Stern's kind of nemesis in Detroit. He was one of the markets where Howard didn't do as good because of someone like Drew.
Wow.
So he enjoys the Stuttering John stuff though.
I appreciate any radio person, especially if they're like a little older, if they're able to transition to podcasting or YouTube at all. That's such a huge win because there are so many that don't and are kind of stifled or intimidated by even the idea of learning or trying a new medium. So I think it's great.
And he was great. He's definitely all in the Dabbleverse. Like we were sitting at the bar talking, and he was asking me questions about about the Dabbleverse and how I started. Like he's all in. He's all in with this, and he loves it. But yeah, he's got a great crew.
Johnny Meyer is wondering, when does this get interesting?
Oh, Johnny. I'm sorry.
Johnny Meyer, actually, the name of the guy that I technically my first kiss. It happened in first grade. We were behind a bookshelf. Actually, no, we weren't behind a bookshelf. We were near a bookshelf, but we were sitting with our third grade buddy. And it was the strangest thing. Like him and I just sort of fell into our heads just sort of fell into each other. Like no one knows how to kiss. And I remember third grade buddy being like, like we just would share twin pops. Like we were just friends, me and Johnny Meyer. He ultimately turned out to be gay, but owns a lovely florist shop, I think out on Long Island somewhere.
It's not cliched at all.
I should reach out to him. Yeah.
Try and rekindle.
Yeah, see what he's up to. He probably would disavow me because of my politics. He probably would unfriend me. I don't want to go through that. Isaac, Walmart. Don't be nervous, Chrissy, but he's kind of a big deal. Oh, I know. I noticed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hold back my excitement.
Don't hold back. Don't hold it in. You'll hurt yourself.
Wow, Drew Lane loved my review of Bros. That's flattering.
Yeah,
Bros was that gay movie.
Oh yeah,
gay porn.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic film.
It was so great. So, what are your what's on your to-do list in terms of content creation, guests, live shows?
Well, like I said, I've got subreddits. I do my show. I do the Cardiff Electric podcast, the YouTube. I pop on. I don't have a schedule. I fly by the seat of my skins, I guess. When I feel like doing something, I do it. I do.
You just peel out whenever you need to.
Peel out, jump on and do some stuff. But I have subreddit surfing Mondays at 8. Like I said, I do that with Vinny. I'm trying to do some stuff outside of the Dabbleverse. I do enjoy. Like I wasn't doing any of this before. I wasn't doing a YouTube or podcast or anything, but I've enjoyed it. It's been fun. It's been a blast. The audience is cool. Like talking to people, and just I think I've always been a goofball, and now I have a place to be a goofball, and people enjoy it. To be honest, I make it a bit of money too. It's great. I'm not living off of it, but it's fun, and it pays for new equipment and this. Like it's a great thing. But I've also started my pals, OJ, Obnoxious John, and El Horrible. You may know him as Tukey. That's his big puppet.
So he went from El Horrible to just being this puppet persona?
No, he does both.
Okay.
He does both. But Tukey is the big, the hot, fresh dabbler on the street. Everybody loves Tukey right now. I'm yesterday's potatoes.
I've seen Tukey, but I don't understand Tukey. Can you explain?
He stinks. That's really all I can say. No, he's Tukey Soup's a good show. Sunday nights on Bedabbler's channel, and he kind of does. No, I don't do Sunday nights. I don't do Sunday nights. But he does a recap of the Dabbleverse. It's grown outside the Dabbleverse. I guess he does the Dabbleverse has led to the Hackverse, which has kind of brought other shows into it that have.
Who's in the Hackverse?
Kevin Brennan is in the Hackverse. Steel Toe. Joey C for some reason is in the Hackverse. You know, Shuli gets beat up a bit in the Hackverse. Who else is in the Hackverse? Ray DeVito, obviously Chad Zumach. All these guys are kind of covered in the Hackverse. So Tukey Soup is kind of like a talk soup version for the Dabbleverse, for the Hackverse.
Oh,
and he
wow.
kind of plays clips and kind of covers stuff. Mostly he just reads super chats now. But
I think has someone attempted just to make a big chart of everything?
Of what's going on?
I think that would be helpful.
I mean, there was a time where I was screaming for a Dabbler's TV guide. Because there'd be so like, even for me, every time I would go on to do a show, then Shuli would be doing a show at the same time, or someone else.
Right. And you don't want to compete with folks if you can avoid it.
Yeah, let's spread it out a little bit. Right. So but yeah, I've started a show with those guys, with Dabbler and Obnoxious John, or El Horrible and Obnoxious John. You'll remember the 90s. Now, Chrissy, you won't remember the 90s because you were
I
born
wasn't
after the
even
90s.
born
Yeah, you
yet.
weren't even born yet.
I wasn't even here.
So
Yeah.
this show is right up your alley. We're three young men who also weren't around in the 90s, learned about the 90s from YouTube and other
That
sources.
sounds so fun.
Yes, we did a pilot show. We've started our own channel, but we start live this Friday at You'll Remember the 90s. Like and subscribe at You'll Remember the 90s on YouTube. And we're going to do that every Friday night. It's like bringing TGIF back.
Yes.
To Friday nights, having some fun. And again, it's nothing Dabbler related. It's nothing. We're not shit on. We're just watching old commercials. We're talking about old technology. We're like this Friday. We're going to start. I think we're going to start with technology. So 90s
Yes, talk about
technology,
the
internet.
the Talkboy tape recorder.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So
The
we're gonna have a lot
regular
of
phone.
the regular Y2K.
Y2K.
Maybe we'll demonstrate what it was like downloading pornography in 1997.
The
It was
AOL
torture.
dial-up tone.
Mhm. All that stuff that you've seen in history books, Chrissie Mayr.
Yeah, I've only read about it. Of course, I haven't
Yes.
lived through it. I've only
No,
heard of
course.
such things like Jenko jeans or baby
Oh,
tees or
wait, Jenko jeans are only 90s?
I don't know. Maybe.
Uh-oh.
Were they aughts too?
No, I'm still wearing them.
Oh.
It's awkward.
No, they're probably back now.
No,
This is great. I hope
they're
your show takes off because I feel like there's a real desire for 90s nostalgia right now and has been
Yeah.
for a couple years.
And it is, and it's just it was a fun decade, and there was some interesting stuff.
Yes, the Discman. Cover the Discman, the Walkman.
I hated the Discman. I always skipped in my car.
Oh, you would do this and it would completely stop working. You couldn't even walk with it, like because you would shake the CD out of sync. So I've heard.
JJ Muscatel with the hypercolor from the 90s. That was great.
The hypercolor
T-shirt.
shirts.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Almost gave you an excuse to grab girls inappropriately just to.
I always wanted one, but like my parents said it was too expensive. Like the cool neighbor girl had one. I always wanted to skip it. That was too expensive. I wanted
How about a pogo ball? Did you have a pogo ball?
No, I wanted a digipet. I wanted moon shoes. One day I'm just gonna. Well, I think when I finally lose it, I'm just gonna buy all the things I wanted when I was a kid.
Isn't that what we do? Isn't that what you have behind you on your shelf?
These are just dolls. A lot of these things were sent to me.
Ah.
Like you can't buy an action figure. Not even if you wanted to. I mean, you could if you contact Andy Masterson, who I think does now sell these. But
where's his clothes and his laptop?
He doesn't wear. The laptop is in his accessory bag.
Oh, okay, good.
But it came with soiled undies.
Very nice.
Everything. Nice. This is going to be a real heirloom. I have a My Little Pony down here.
My Little Pony.
Yeah.
My Little Pony.
And these are books and my hot sauce and random things. Yeah.
Your collections. But you want to buy toys. You want to go back and buy your toys that you didn't get when you were.
Yeah. I did have one of my mods did send me not the actual Skip It, like trademark Skip It, because they don't make those anymore, but she sent me a generic Skip It, which I treasure.
I always remember wanting a Nintendo for Christmas. And it was the year that everybody wanted a Nintendo, whenever that was, 85, 86. I wanted
I wanted a Nintendo too, but we never got one.
And I remember that Christmas I begged and I pleaded and I screamed for it. I think my parents gave in and they went to the store and probably on Christmas Eve, and Nintendos were long sold out.
How much do you think they were back then?
I think they were like $400, $300 or $400, or no. Actually, I think I've seen ads. They were like 100. Maybe they were $150 or $200. But I remember the games were even back then were $40 or $50.
And the games now are still $40, $50.
But my parents went to the store. They said, "Give me a Nintendo," and they didn't have any more Nintendos. But Atari, for some reason, had revamped their system from 10 years earlier, and somehow the guy at the store, the salesman at the store, convinced my parents that Atari was the exact same thing.
Oh, they
kid would
fell
love it.
for it. Oh no.
Yes. And I got the only bright side was all my friends got Nintendo, so they gave me all their old Atari games that were useless to them now. So I had about 300 Atari games on December 26th. That was the
Wow.
only bright side.
Yes, snap bracelets were pretty iconic, as were Pogs, but that might have been 2000s.
Yeah, I think Pogs might have been a little bit later.
Slammers. I had a Tom and Jerry slammer and chipper. I remember I had shiny special Pogs that I didn't even want to play with because I didn't want to risk losing them. But they were basically just different foods, like sparkly cartoon foods. Like one might have had a potato on it, one had like poi on it. I remember. Like it was just I remember this Pog so vividly because I was like, I've never seen anything like it. It was like a hand with two fingers like this, and there was like a dollop of poi, which is like a Hawaiian delicacy, just on the top. And like I was like, I really want to keep this Pog forever. Now I have to go down this rabbit hole and find this Pog.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pog.
Well, at least there's eBay.
I don't even know. This might not even be possible to find. I'm gonna have to go down such a deep rabbit hole. Vintage Pogs. All right. Well, I know what I'm gonna be doing the rest of the night.
Sorry. Women be shopping, huh?
Oh my god. I want to find it. Okay. All right.
How do you even identify poi on a finger?
It's like a gray. I remember it was a gray blob.
How did you even know that was poi? How did you
I asked my mom. She lived in Hawaii briefly. She's like, I know what that is. It came in a pack of other like funky foods. All right. You're gonna be
buying Pogs all night.
I think I need them. Yeah. I really loved it. And they came in like a fun little case.
Chrissie Mayr, you don't need them, but you deserve them.
I want them.
You've worked hard.
Yeah. You know what craze I didn't fall for was the Beanie Baby craze.
Oh.
I even knew back then. I was like, all these suckers keeping their tags on and plastic. Like, I was like, they're in for a rude awakening. These are gonna be worth jack shit. And sure enough, they were.
Mm-hmm. And there's people that are still sitting on thousands and thousands of
have like storage units full with their Y2K supplies.
Well, I think even baseball cards did that in the mid 90s, early to mid 90s, where they went from being just a regular collectible to being overproduced. They were everywhere. You could buy them everywhere. They were all over the place, and they were worthless.
Like what do you call? Not the bobbleheads. They're not bobbleheads. They're dolls with heads.
Oh, the Funko Pops?
Yeah, Funko Pops.
Yeah. Those are still popular, but I don't think there's a lot of value in most of them, I think.
No, I think they're dumping a lot of them into the ocean, I heard.
Or fish.
Oh my goodness. Oh god, what else did I hate to just have this be like a complain-a-thon about stuff my parents didn't buy me, but a Tamagotchi, didn't get a Tamagotchi, didn't get a Digipet, didn't get any of that shit. And there'd be girls at school who'd have like 5, 6, 7, 8 hanging off their backpack, and I was just like, ugh, way to wave it in my face. Yeah. I was like, really? This is really glorifying teen pregnancy, if anything.
Did you ever have to do that
thing
in high school where
we weren't carrying around an egg, but we had actual babies, like baby dolls that we had to bring home that would cry.
Oh, so you did? Okay.
And they would like be timed or whatever. And I remember vividly stuffing mine in the closet under a bunch of sweaters. And I think I lost a lot of points for that.
Was that only to deter teen pregnancies, or were they actually trying to teach young women how to be mothers?
I think they were trying to deter teen pregnancies. And I was just talking about this with somebody. They did teach abstinence in school, but it was a little bit like outside of this baby thing. It was very shame and fear based. Mm-hmm. And it was more like, just don't, you're good. It was like, oh, you're going to get AIDS. Like that was the whole reason not to have sex, is you will get AIDS and you will die. When really what they should have done is sat the boys down and be like, let's talk about child support. Okay. Whatever you're making, times 18 years. It's this percentage. There you go. Like, just make it real. And then for the girls, they should have sat them down and be like, you really want to know what an abortion is? Like, let's talk about it. How freaking detailed and how it will affect you for life. Bring in some women who've had abortions, some that regret it, some that don't. Like, get into the nitty-gritty of it. And then they should just tell kids, like, hey, ultimately don't bang somebody unless you want to have their kid.
Or the butt.
Right. A stick to the butt.
Mhm.
Or like perfect your pullout game. Learn your cycle. Keep your head on a swivel. And by that I mean your penis head.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I would be a great sex ed teacher. I wouldn't be trying to trans anybody. I would just give it to them straight. I'd be a straight shooter.
That's what the world needs, Chrissie Mayr. Straight shooters.
I'd have to gain about 100 pounds and cut my hair short, but I think I could fit the role. If you had to teach in high school, a high school class, what would you teach and why?
What would I teach?
Would you do home ec because you're a potato?
You know what? If they had like a handyman course, like
shop, you'd be a shop
class.
teacher.
Yeah. I could be, but not like I was never like the machine shop stuff. But I mean like
woodworking,
fixing a toilet or hanging.
Oh, that's cool.
Fixing things. Like I'm pretty good with that. But the machine shop stuff, the shop stuff was not my cup of tea. I built a table once.
Ooh, our shop teacher in middle school also ran the school zoo, which was in the basement. And I always wanted to be part of the school zoo. I think it was called like the Sci-Tech Club because it was like there was also a weather station down there and a bunch of animals and shit. He kept a crocodile down there somehow. I don't know if that was
You had
legal.
a crocodile in your school?
I think we did. We had a small alligator or crocodile in the basement that what the fuck was his name? He had a crazy white mustache.
I think you're suppressing some trauma.
Well, here's the trauma.
Hey kids, come downstairs and see my crocodile.
I'll tell you my trauma from the school zoo. I freaking love animals. There's nothing I love more than animals. And I was like so excited to join the school zoo. You have to join the zoo club, whatever it was called. And it's so exciting. You open zoo, yeah. Zoomock. You open the basement door, you get this whiff of like animal smell, like hits you, and you're like, oh my God, there's animals down there. And I remember, I think I was in 6th grade. I first went down and like I held this gerbil. I was so excited. I got so excited. I dropped the thing and it scuttled away. It ran off. And I was banned from the zoo for life. Banned. 6th, 7th, 8th grade, banned. Never to. It was like it was really the biggest trauma of my life.
Maybe
and it was an accident. It was an accident, but the little bugger like bounced off my shoe and then ran off. Who knows? Maybe he ran into the alligator's cage.
Perhaps you saved yourself. Perhaps you saved yourself some trouble.
This guy was he was such a prick. I wonder what I can't remember his name. I'll have to think about it. I'll have to ask my brother and sister. Anyway, a lot of fun memories. Sorry I went on that tangent. Oh, yeah, we were talking about all the nostalgia toys. Colin Madden, I think the No Fear t-shirts and the inexplicable success of Technotronic and Ricky Lake would be hard to explain to someone who didn't live through the 90s.
Pump Up the Jam?
What was Technotronic?
Was that Pump Up the Jam?
Like jock jams?
No,
pump the jam. Pump it up while your feet are stumping. If the jam is pumping. Who would ever choose to listen to that? Dun, 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 dun.
It's what was on the radio.
But it would pump you up, though. We would listen to it in gym class.
Yeah, they still play it. That's still a stadium song for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Wow. Did we cover it all? I'm so worried I forgot a piece of your history or...
Oh, there's lots.
So much of your history remains ahead of you.
Yes, and I forget a lot of it myself.
Yeah.
I forget a lot of it myself, but it's been fun. But now all we can do is look forward to March 10th. StutteringJohnLive.com. Get your tickets now. VIP meet and greet. If you want to meet John,
Ooh.
you want to take a picture with John, now is the time. There's a limited number of VIP. Those ones are selling fast. So get those
Who knows
now.
if he'll do a live show like this again.
May never. He wants to do some comedy, tell some stories, and then we're going to do a live Q&A. If you want to ask John a question, you have to be there. Be there. Possibly the night before on the Saturday, we'll be doing a live subreddit surfing at Comedy at the Carlson.
So March 9th, there'll be subreddit surfing.
But the big show is March 10th, Stuttering John, Comedy at the Carlson. Get your tickets now.
Yeah. Take a
it's
long
late.
weekend. Take Monday off. Just plan to be out there that whole weekend. It'll be March. It will not be as cold as, say, a February.
But no, Karl cannot come.
No?
No, Karl is not allowed.
He's not allowed.
He's begging in the chat right now, and I'm saying no. You're not allowed.
Why? Does John forbid it?
John has forbade it. He forbade it on his show today. Just tonight.
He forbade it?
He forbade it. Is that the word?
I don't know. I wasn't an English major.
Yes, but he announced that tonight on his show. Karl cannot be in the building. So sorry, Karl. You're out.
Dang, that sucks. That doesn't seem fair at all.
Life isn't always fair, Chrissie Mayr. Life isn't always fair.
People want me to invite Karl. I don't know if I should.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh. You want that zilch on your show?
Oh my God.
You should have Tukey on one day. I think you'd like Tukey.
Tukey is the natural next step here. Yeah, John and I usually aren't so close in proximity. Oh wait, we're neighbors now. Yeah, he's got to get on board with you. He's got to you just have to be like, shh, let it happen, John.
Well,
shh.
do you know what Karl's talking about there?
Because they're Florida neighbors.
Yeah, they're Florida neighbors. Okay, you're up to speed. All right. You can.
First of all, Chase, you can still meet me. Just don't be weird about it. Okay, come to a comedy show like a normal person. Buy a shirt like a normal person, or a headshot or whatever. Just don't be weird. Don't be weird in chat. Don't be weird in person.
No, I think he misspelled eat. Yes, I think that was the problem.
Okay, cool. Yes, forbidden.
Forbidden. Thank you.
Potato. I'm sure you say that all the time.
Tomato.
Mm-hmm. An Evening with Stuttering John Melendez. Get your tickets for March 10th, 2024. For Comedy at the Carlson, go to stutteringjohnlive.com. Who knows? This is like when people go see Duran or Alice Cooper. It's like you never know if this is going to be the last show.
I just saw Alice Cooper last week.
Ooh, we're in Tennessee.
Fantastic. New York.
Oh, cool.
Or Pennsylvania. I don't remember where I was, but I saw him and Rob Zombie.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a great show.
I was invited to one of those shows, and I just was like, I'm not a fan of either. It would feel wrong to go.
Why?
I don't know. A friend was like, I think they were all going to a show in Tennessee to see those guys, and I was like, I'm not a fan of either person.
I have to say, Alice Cooper put on a great show for a 75 or 76-year-old man. He put on an amazing show.
Sing one of his songs.
School's out for summer.
I know that song.
You would know more songs than you think you know.
I don't know. I'm pretty young.
That's true, but yeah, they must have had classic rock back in your day. Classic rock radio.
Yes. Oh, I did listen to that often on my way to high school, which was just the other day.
Ed Chrissie, all the kids today are listening to old school music anyway.
Good. I hope so. There's so much wrong with Gen Z. I at least hope they can begin to get music right. Cardiff, any closing thoughts, feelings, ideas, and where can people find you?
No thoughts, no ideas, except March 10th, stutteringjohnlive.com. Come and see me with Stuttering John in Rochester. I'm on YouTube at Cardiff Electric, at You'll Remember the 90s this Friday. So go to that YouTube channel at You'll Remember the 90s, subscribe there. And subreddit surfing Mondays at 8 on YouTube at the subreddit surfing YouTube channel.
You're a busy potato.
I am. I'm insane.
What if people show up to the Stuttering John show with a potato? Would you autograph it?
I signed in Detroit. I signed a Mrs. Potato Head.
Wow.
That was a first for me.
That seems sexual.
Honored.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't fuck it.
I think just potato and head.
Okay.
My imagination
Fair.
ran away with me. This was fun. Thank you so much to the chat. For those of you who still have no idea what we're talking about, thank you for bearing with us. Thank you to those of you who sent a super chat. Oh, JR, March 10th is my birthday.
Happy birthday. We'll
And
get
I'll
John to
spend
sing
it with
happy birthday.
Stuttering John. Wow, Junior's the shit. He's the best. That's
Can't wait to
exciting that
meet
he's
you.
going to go.
Come say hello. Come say hello.
He's one of the absolute best people. Yeah. Have you ever signed boobs? Fealty wants to know.
Almost. A shirt above, slightly above.
Okay. I've signed a boob. There's nothing like it.
I've signed my own boobs. I mean, for practice.
Just every night before you go
Yes.
to bed. Signing off. Yes, guys, come see us. Myself, Gino Bisconti, and Anthony Cumia this Saturday in Mayapack. And then, of course, catch me in Minnesota. Hopefully, maybe Cardiff will be there to hang.
Yes.
October 21st. And then in Long Island, October 27, 28. Tampa, December 3rd. San Diego, January 5th and 6th. Go to ChrissieMayr.com for tickets. Thank you, Cardiff, for your time. Thank you for being so
Chrissie.
flexible with the time change. You're an absolute delight.
I do yoga.
Wow.
Mhm.
You got to stay flexible.
Yep.
Can't let yourself be a crusty potato.
Mhm.
All right, guys. We will see you next time. Bye.